Hey guys, so it is no secret that my second rental property has been bleeding me dry, or should I say bleeding me blind. And so today's video should come as no surprise to at least those of you who watch my videos. You would know that I talked about the pros and cons of a leasehold versus a freehold. Obviously, I know that freehold is better than a leasehold, but when it came to getting a property, the one that I wanted to give a try was a leasehold property. And today's video, I am going to be talking to you guys about some of the reasons why I regret buying my second rental property, which is a leasehold property. So the reasons why I regret buying a leasehold property. And these are not, I don't know, to me they were big things, are big things, but they may not be so big to other people. But I just wanted to to share my honest thoughts on this, because rental too has been everything and in between when it comes to challenges and issues and all of that good jazz. I do have my trusted notebook here because you guys know that I write everything down. So I did write down 4 reasons why I regret buying my second rental property. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the first reason that I have written down here is I regret buying this second rental property because when it came to the mortgage renewal, the lender sent their, I don't know what you call them, not an inspector, but property assessor, I think they're called, and he came to assess the value of the house. And so I had bought the house for, got my notes because I'm gonna go into the properties notes section of my phone. I bought the property in 2021 and I bought it for properties, property number 2. I bought it for £175,000 near me in the south of England. Am I southwest? South of England. Let's just put it south of England. And my deposit for this property was just under £44,000. My stamp duty was just over £6,000. And at that time when I bought the property, there was a tenant. So I inherited a tenant and he was paying £750 in rent. I did not see any need to change that rent. He had been a good tenant to the previous landlords and they had no issues. So I was like, yeah, if he doesn't want to leave, then we'll stay until he wants to leave, kind of situation. So that was back in 2021 when I bought the property. In 20 I got a mortgage for that property, so I had to put down 25% deposit, and then for the remainder 75% I had to get a mortgage. I got a mortgage, and I believe for this rental property I was paying just under £250. So that £750 was actually quite a decent amount for this property. Then we remortgaged the property, this time with the same lender, and the lender went, we did try the lenders, but we ended up in the end settling with this lender. But the lender went to assess the property and they devalued the property, which meant that it was now lower than 175 that I bought it for. And that was really annoying because not that Zoopla, the site that I used to check, the expected or proposed amount that a property would get for, they always have like a low end, medium end, and high end. The Zoopla one was saying it had gone up by at least 5 to 10k, and this is the medium range, and the assessor was like, no, he put it down to I want to say 1 what did I put it, 170 or 168? I was mad because my loan to value is no longer 75%. And also with the interest rates having gone up, I lost. Oh, this is one of my biggest regrets, that I didn't lock it in for 5 years like my other rental properties. This one I locked it in for 2 years because we thought nothing was really going to happen in the medium timeline to the interest rates, but boy, how wrong were we. Anyway, so ended up remortgaging with the same company, and my mortgage for this rental property went from 250 to 600 or 650. No, about six. Yeah, I literally could not believe it. I will put the actual amount when I'm editing this video, what it went up to. I literally could not believe it. I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, we tried to look at other lenders, and I felt like having that bank assess it as that impacted everything else, and everybody was now offering the rest the same, which was crazy to me. But that was the jump that this second rental property experienced. So now I barely had anything left from the 750 rent for this property. So that was the first thing that made me start regretting buying the second rental property. The second one is a problem tenant. I would like to think of myself as a good landlord because I'm someone who rented for 10 years. I have had some of the best landlords, the worst landlords, and somewhere in between. So my thing was, and I've spoken about this on the channel, my thing was I wanted to make sure whomever I had a tenant never wanted to leave, because I would just provide the best. Like, there would be no issues. If there's any issues that, like, maybe a boiler broke down, I would immediately send. This is why I have it managed. My property is managed. I would send someone immediately. Like, they wouldn't have to worry about anything. I do all my servicing for all the appliances, checking the electricals are fine, checking the gas, everything. I wanted to make sure that they had the best. I wanted to make it as if I was living in that property, or one of my family members was living in that property, so that my tenants would never have to have any problems. And I've been doing that until I met a tenant who had other plans for me. So the first tenant was paying $750, eventually moved out. I think a year after, when his tenancy was coming to an end, he was leaving the area, so he decided to leave, which was fine. So because I had chosen to keep the rent at $750 for him, my estate agent did tell me that actually all the other, because it's in a building, it's in a block of flats, other other properties were renting for about £1,000. I was like, oh, okay, we will go for that. I didn't really realize how in demand the rental property was, if I am honest. I think I've focused so much on buying side of things that I've never really looked at the rental side of things. I've like, okay, this property can bring you this much in rate of return, blah blah blah, but I've never really looked at the market itself, like what people are paying in terms of rent. So when we said 1,000, there was people who was offering us for the 6 months paid all in one lump sum, or for the whole year paid all in one lump sum. Then there were people who were like, oh, we'll pay 1,500 for it. And I would not lie, I was shocked by the offers that we were getting. And I remember speaking to my parents. I was like, you know what, I don't want greed to get ahead of me. So we're offering 1,000. I think we should keep it at 1,000. So whomever we accept, regardless of whether they have offered above that, we'll just tell them it'll still be 1,000. I'm sure this is crazy to listen to some people, but for me, I was just like, I said 1,000. That's what we're going to stick to. So 1,000 it was. We got a couple, and we thought, yeah, honky dory, Chad. I feel like not even 2 months in the property, they were like, oh, there's this issue, or there's this issue. And it ended up being because of them not taking care of my property, as opposed to me having faulty anything in the house. When my washing machine broke, I was like, it's okay. You know what? These things happen. And, you know, when we were replacing it, The people that were replacing it were like, I'm surprised. And I can't tell you why it happened. Let's just say that it needed to go. I replaced it instantly because I never wanted them to be without. But it was interesting. So I was just like, you know what? Things will break, things will need replacing, replaced it. And then it was just one after the other, one after the other. In hindsight, these were signs that, I probably should have been writing them down and thinking about them, but I didn't. I was just like, you know what? It happens. Replace. It happens. Fix. It happens, like that kind of thing. So it became a pain until this year when the tenant informed us, due to some personal reasons, between the couple, they had decided that they were going to move out. I was like, okay, this was back in July of this year. I was like, sure, no worries. You in July, you have reached your 6-month break clause with the contract, so you can move out now, or any time from now you can move out. So they decided that, okay, 3 months notice as per the contract, we will move out September. I was like, okay, that's fine. I instructed my estate agents, to start looking for another tenant. We found a tenant. We're just about to sign the contract when the old tenant came back and said, I'm not leaving. We're like, what do you mean? You already gave us notice. We've already found someone. So September, you gotta go. I'm not leaving. And it was a whole mess. And I had a trip at the end of August when I went to South Korea and Japan and Hong Kong. I was like, you know what? I'll deal with all of this when I come back. But I was being advised that I should probably get the lawyers involved. I was just like, you know what? Either he leaves in September or he fulfills his original commitment, which was until January next year. And at first, because I was hot and bothered, I was ready for him to leave ASAP. And he refused to leave. He locked himself in and he wouldn't let any of the agents or anybody into the property. Like it was, I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny. It's funny to me now, but it wasn't then. And I was just like, I have keys. If I wanted to, I could have gone, but what would I have done exactly? This gentleman would not budge. Anyway, so I said to the agents, you know what, let's just leave him now. So long as the rent is being paid, that's fine. The rent was paid, delayed, but paid. And then this month, the month of November of 2025, got an email to say, so this person paid, or I should say this couple paid their rent from like the 10th, or the 11th to the 10th of the following month. So that's how they kind of paid their rent, which was fine by me. So they messaged at the beginning of the month saying that before their next rent was due, that they will be moving out on the 10th itself. So I was like, okay, but what are my options? And they were like, well, since they didn't leave in September, they're legally bound and they have to stay, and pay up until January. I was like, well, if they have left, we can start advertising for a new person, or hopefully that person moves in as soon as possible. But for the November into December rent, December into January rent, they're still responsible for that. And I was like, if we find someone for December, then we can forgo that one. But November into December, that needs to be covered. And still haven't heard anything. I don't know if it's going to get paid, but it has been such a roller coaster. And it just reminded me of the series that I watched on Tanisha Davis. Hers was much worse. The tenant ruined the property. With this tenant, outside of the mirrored and many things I've had to replace in that property, I wouldn't say they went anywhere as far as what Tanisha Davis's previous landowner, previous rental property did. But it kind of like, it reminded me of that. And I'm like, I'm so glad it's not that bad for me, because she went through it and in the end it worked out so well, so beautifully for her. But I was just like, you know what, I honestly don't want to deal with the stress, don't want the lawyers involved. If he's out, he's out. I think what we'll have to do is just keep the deposit and Bob's your uncle. So right now I haven't heard anything, but I know that this person has moved out, and we have a potential tenant who is looking to sign and move in next month. So let's see how that goes. But that was the second reason. I mean, you never know what kind of tenant you get, but this one surprised me because of all of the things that could have gone wrong. All of it felt manufactured than they got a short end of the stick kind of situation. That's what it felt like to me. But life is life. That happened. It's one of the reasons why I don't like, and I think moving on to the third one of the reasons why I dislike it is because my property is also the top one. So it's there's a ground floor, middle floor, and then the top one. So mine is the top one, and because of all of the issues, and majority of them were in the bathroom, it was flooding practically all the time. So water was seeping into the flat below, which obviously then makes me liable because their roof is getting damaged and what have you. One of the other things is this same property, the building is old. I want to say 70s, 80s kind of old building. So ever since the Grenfell Tower, every building like that, I mean all properties, but every building like that needs to be inspected every 5 years. Electrical fault checking, like EICR, that has to be done every 5 years. And I got the report initially when I bought the property. It was like, okay, right, no issues, great. Then obviously now it was time for me to do the service, and it failed. So you have C1 where you have to fix it immediately within like 30 days. Then you have C2, which is okay, you might want to look into this and start getting to it. And then C3, which is like, okay, there are a bit of things that in the near future or will be good for you to fix. So I had C1s and C2s, and obviously the C1s had to be fixed ASAP, and if I was fixing the C1s, might as well incorporate the C2s. So I got the quote for that was about £2,000. So had to pay for that, which I don't regret because at least it ensures that my rental property is safe. Like the electricals are fine and there's no issues with them for the next, at least won't be for the next 5 years until we do another check. But I was just like, really? Like, anyway, so that was the third one. The fourth one has been the fact that ever since I got the property, the leasehold fee has been going up by at least £5 every single year. We're currently at 85 and I'm expecting that next year will be 90. I think I started at 20, I'm sorry, not 20, 70. And then I think by next year it would have gone up by £20. And I was just like, I knew this going in, if I am honest, but I just didn't think it would be increasing every single year. Like they sent us the accounts, like, oh, this is where the money was spent, this is why. But half of it was just like, really? Anyway, so those are the reasons. But right now, wish me luck, you guys. We do have a potential tenant that wants to move in next month. This month, I don't know if I'll be getting any rent from this property, which means I will need to get from my savings. I'm thankful that I actually have savings to be able to pay for these things. I am definitely emptying out everything that I have for the rental because that £2,000 I had to take from my emergency fund to pay for that, and then the shortfall for this rent I'll also have to take from my savings and cover that as well. But yeah, I am very much regretting it. My original intention was to, this is my big vision, was to buy this property that I bought, then maybe buy the next one below it and the one after, like buy as many as I can because I want to own an entire building. That's my vision. I was like, either own the entire building, like the entire block of flats, or I buy a hotel. That's my vision. So yeah. Anyway, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video real soon.